Theo Jones, the Director of Legal Services here at APEX, and a very special welcome to you this morning to a special day, a second day rather, of this inaugural Justice and Technology series being hosted by ARIN and APEX. I'm sure that those of you who were able to attend yesterday's gathering would certainly agree that we got off to a tremendous start in terms of the rich and relevant discourse among the attendees. And so this is a unique forum that brings together leading jurists and attorneys, research scholars from across the region and the international development organizations to share insights, experiences, and research on how technology generally, but the internet specifically, is shaping and impacting the justice sector, courts, the delivery of justice, the legal profession, and legal practitioners. We believe that this forum facilitates greater collaboration. It is itself a collaboration between regional and international internet and justice sector organizations, particularly the American Registry of Internet Numbers, ARIN, and the Caribbean Agency for Justice Solution, APEX, along with their strategic partners. It provides an interdisciplinary platform for stakeholders to discuss how technological innovation and trends are impacting the justice sector holistically. And it is intended that participants glean expert insights into the evolving strategies and best practices in this area, and certainly share experiences as peers and colleagues from across the world. So today we are continuing our sojourn in advancing development in our regional justice community through this timely forum. And we are looking forward to seizing the opportunities for collaboration, development, and growth. And so now we'll shift quite quickly onto some welcome remarks from some of our distinguished guests, panelists, and colleagues from across the region and beyond. And so without further ado, I will introduce the first speaker. We will first be addressed by the Honorable Mr. Justice Adrian Saunders. Mr. Justice Adrian Saunders is the third and current president of the Caribbean Court of Justice and has been since 2018. And we know the Caribbean Court of Justice has a special place as the apex court in our region. He is, of course, a distinguished regional jurist through and through, having begun his career in the early 1980s in private practice and having served in several capacities in the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, both as a High Court judge and as a Justice of Appeal, having even acted as Chief Justice of that court before joining the CCJ in 2005 as part of the first and pioneering cohort for this unique and model regional court. And so we can look forward to his welcome remarks starting now.
Esteemed colleagues, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Caribbean Agency for Justice Solutions, APEX, for organizing this forum for legal professionals. APEX, as you know, is a unique nonprofit company created in large measure by the unswerving commitment of two outstanding Caribbean minds in Sir Dennis Byron and Mr. Bevel Wooding. Each is a giant in his respective field of justice and information and communications technology, or ICT. It is their insights and painstaking efforts, plus the hard work of many at the CCJ, along with the expertise of the technical and legal officers at APEX, together with the encouragement and material support of some Caribbean governments that have contributed to the creation of this wonderful Caribbean vehicle that currently provides cutting-edge technology for judicial institutions in 10 different English-speaking Caribbean states. But there is more that APEX does. It organizes forums such as these. And that remit fulfills one of the important goals that was envisioned for the company when it was originally conceived. From the start, it was never considered sufficient for the company to be a mere provider of technology services to justice institutions. APEX has always considered itself as also having, among a range of other responsibilities, an obligation to promote and facilitate a continuing dialogue between ICT experts on the one hand and law and justice officials on the other. And so here we are today. There is so much to discuss. In each of these two spheres, justice and ICT, there are tremendous changes occurring in the world as we speak. These changes mirror the dynamic trends and developments we are witnessing in every facet of life. The challenge for us who inhabit the sphere of law and justice is several-fold. How do we keep abreast of technological developments and their increasing influence on our societies? How do we harness and apply that which is useful in order to enhance the administration of justice and the rule of law? And what steps do we take in the face of contemporary expectation of services to promote public trust and confidence in the courts? The people are well ahead of us already as far as the law and justice sector are concerned. The sad reality is that there are more people who have access to the internet than they have access to justice in the world today. According to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, only 46% of the world's population live under the protection of the law. On the other hand, as the ITU, the International Telecommunications Union, notes, more than half of the world's population is now online. It is my hope that today's deliberations, in the face of all of these realities, in the face of all the imperatives that face us in the Caribbean, that today's deliberations will be fruitful and redound to the benefit of the people of the region who are desperate for us to close this gap between justice and the accession to online services. I thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Justice Saunders, for setting the context that the legal profession has to exist in, with tremendous levels of internet connectivity across the world, shifting things and shifting society generally. Moving on, we're going to have now some brief comments from Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, the president of the Organization of Commonwealth Caribbean Bar Associations, or OCCBA. Mr. Ferguson is a Grenadian attorney and is a very seasoned and accomplished litigator with a practice covering both the civil and criminal law spheres. Mr. Ferguson is formerly served as the president of the Grenada Bar Association, and since the beginning of his term as the president of OCCBA, has been committed to promoting greater regional unity and public education. Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator, and a pleasant good morning to all. On behalf of OCCBA, we wish to congratulate APEX and ARIN for organizing this very timely Justice and Technology series. It could not have come at a better moment, and OCCBA is pleased to be associated with this activity today and looks forward to the several activities that are planned for the coming weeks and months. COVID-19, despite the severe challenges it presents, as we all know, it also presents several opportunities. And we have to seize the moment, and that moment is now. What COVID has done in the last year and several months is to give all of us a greater appreciation of the importance of technology, the importance of marine technology and the justice sector. And we really want to congratulate APEX in particular as a homegrown entity for its work in trying to produce that unique Caribbean product that would enable access to justice, promote greater access to justice for all. After all, what we aim to do is to create a system that is more efficient, that is more cost-effective, that is accessible to all, not just some, not just those at the High Court and the Court of Appeal, but as has been done in Grenada in the past 6 weeks, where we have launched a virtual magistracy. We are using the technology for the first time in the magistrates' court, where over 90% of our people go to seek justice. And that has only been launched last week, October 11th. And we hope through institutions like OCCBA and APEX, the CCJ, and other regional institutions to work together to create that synergy where many of these programs introduced in the respective islands can be rolled out. We need not reinvent the wheel, but for the benefit of all. So thank you and all the best for a very interesting and productive session today.
Thank you very much, Mugbles, for your partnership with APEX on this and many other initiatives throughout the region. We greatly value it. So now we're going to be addressed by Einar Bowlen, who is the Vice President of Government Affairs at the American Registry for Internet Numbers, or ARIN. In that role, he oversees and maintains relationships with governments and key intergovernmental organizations, and works in close collaboration with the president of ARIN in that role. And that role includes specifically providing support for law enforcement and also targeted community outreach to industry groups and stakeholders, particularly in the Caribbean portion of the ARIN region. Einar?
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for that introduction. It's a pleasure to welcome you, distinguished legal professionals, and all dear colleagues to this first session of the Forum for Legal Professionals. ARIN is excited to co-host this event with our friends at APEX. We understand that internet-related cases are increasing, and it makes clear sense that greater understanding of how the internet works will invariably be helpful to all. On one of today's panels, you will hear information about ARIN and the RAR system and some of the services we provide, such as IP address assignments and whois directory lookups. When this meeting is over, we hope that you will see how ARIN and other regional internet registries like LACNIC may be of use to you for information. Furthermore, we will be learning from you about your needs. We always learn from our community, and since you have expressed an interest in what we do, you are now part of our community. No need to be worried. There are no obligations. It's really simply a matter of those that express interest are considered part of our community. We see this forum as the beginning of a collaborative partnership with APEX, and we wish this forum great success. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Einar. Okay, and we look forward to that continuing partnership with you at ARIN. And I believe we're now supposed to have some very brief comments from Anne Rochelle Ine of the International Telecommunications Union. She previously worked with ARIN, actually, and also worked specifically with our Mr. Bevel Wooding in the Caribbean region. So without further ado, Anna.
Good morning, friends and colleagues from ARIN. Good morning, friends and colleagues from the Caribbean. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Margaret, and everybody else. This small video from myself and Rochelle Ine. I am sitting in bustling Addis Ababa and wanted to just say congratulations to ARIN and to Bevel for pulling these two forums through. It is very important that the judicial and legal sectors are involved in all of the things that are going into digital transformation. So I wish you all success. I wish you a great day of discussions. And till next time, bye-bye.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, now we're going to hear from Kevon Swift of LACNIC, the Latin American and Caribbean Network Information Center. Kevon is an international affairs professional with over 13 years experience in the international internet-related public policy space, and specifically started at LACNIC in 2014, where he's now the head of strategic relations and integration, and engages regularly with international organizations, governments, regulators, law enforcement, and other actors within the Caribbean, specifically related to internet development. Kevon?
Thank you very much, Theo, and good morning to everyone at APEX. Good morning to all of the attendees this morning for this second day of the Justice and Technology series. It gives me great pleasure to address you on behalf of the Latin American and Caribbean Internet Addressees Registry. We look forward to these engagements where the construction of community for a better global internet is a common goal shared among us and other actors. We at LACNIC have assigned 188 million IPv4 addresses connecting around 400 million Latin American and Caribbean people. Yet 240 million people, or 1/3 of the population of Latin America and the Caribbean, are yet to be connected. And the goal is not connectivity as an end, but rather a means to an end. We are all working towards digital transformation. And of course, you will hear more about the work of LACNIC and ARIN during the course of this morning. If we look at the world of business and the global economy, organizations such as McKinsey and East Innovations clearly explain that data-driven companies are 23 times more likely to acquire more customers. 40% of businesses won't survive in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to transform and adopt the latest technologies. And slowly but truly, digitization and digital transformation are no longer a question of choice, but rather a matter of survival. We didn't look so far afield to see the dichotomy that's playing out in the education field between the connected and the unconnected. So in this scenario, legal professionals and jurists are particularly challenged, not just in the Caribbean, but all across the world. For example, how do we continue ushering business innovation with legal frameworks that can allow the registration of non-conventional marks, sounds, motions, the Internet of Things? What safe harbors and liabilities do we ascribe to the broadening number of online service providers? And as regards artificial intelligence, a burgeoning efficiency enhancer, what are the ethical considerations surrounding this automated technology? Does empathy or compassion have a role to play in any of this? I look forward to these conversations and debates that will arise throughout today. And I thank you for your indulgence, ladies and gentlemen, in providing you with these short remarks on behalf of LACNIC.
Thank you, Kevon. Indeed, the need for greater connectivity and access is real. And so we look forward to these discussions as well. Okay, we will now hear from Mr. Rodney Taylor. Rodney was appointed the CTO, I should introduce his role. So he is the Secretary General of the CTU, Caribbean Telecommunications Union, and he was appointed to that role in March of 2021. He has over 20 years experience in the ICT industry, having most recently worked directly with the Barbados government as the Chief Digital Technology Officer in the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology, MIST. And in that role, he was in charge of Barbados's digital transformation drive in the public sector. Rodney has also written extensively and published on several topics such as e-commerce for small island developing states, and has acted as an advisor in the internet governance space. Rodney?
Thank you very much, Theo. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm conscious of the time, and I will just condense my remarks and say thanks to APEX for the opportunity to participate and to partner on this very important initiative. The CTU, where we sit, we drive national and by extension regional digital transformation. And that effectively is ICT enabled or ICT driven social and economic development for our CARICOM member states. And of course, ICT is impacting all sectors, as we all know, including justice, including health, including education, tourism. No sector is untouched. And therefore, it is important that we have these kinds of conversations to see how we're doing vis-a-vis the rest of the world, but also to ensure that we are not left behind. We promote a concept of 21st century government. As we know, in many cases, or in most cases, justice is the purview, largely in terms of the judiciary of governments. And it is important that our governments are brought into the modern times, so to speak, and hopefully it is not kicking and screaming, but they advance willingly. We promote also the concept of a single ICT space, so that we welcome initiatives such as APEX, because there is a level of consistency as you move from territory to territory with respect to the use of technology and the use of processes and systems. The internet itself is and cyberspace is a very complex jurisdiction. It was mentioned yesterday, the discussion yesterday was very, very excellent. Touched on a lot of critical issues, including the whole notion of where's the jurisdiction in cyberspace, the need for international cooperation and governance for data protection. In the case of Barbados, they proclaimed data protection legislation early this year, and very recently brought on board Data Protection Commissioner, of course, with a legal background and understanding of the intersection of technology and legislation. There's a lot more we can talk about. One of the profound quotes I heard yesterday was, court is not a place, it is a service. And I believe it was Justice Saunders who was quoting author Richard Susskind. And I thought that was very critical. And another profound point was that people are not so much concerned with courts and lawyers and judges, but they're more concerned about justice. And I think with those two quotes, I felt he could have dropped the virtual mic, so to speak, because that said it all. And I think it is important today as we discuss these issues that we focus on people. And on that note, it is important also for us to, from where we sit as CTU, to ensure that the infrastructure is there that supports all of this, because access to technology now means access to education, and it means access to justice, and it means access to a whole range of things. And therefore we have to ensure, Kevin pointed out, the disconnect that we have still in the region. And this is something that the CTU fights arduously to achieve. And so I trust that you will do justice today to the topic, no pun intended, and I look forward to engaging and sticking around and being a part of the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rodney. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Quickly and lastly, we will now hear from Tanya Bastian-Galanis, who is a veteran legal educator and the current principal of the Eugene Dupuche Law School in the Bahamas. Tanya?
I stand on the established protocol as I bid you good morning. I wish to congratulate the Caribbean Agency for Justice Solutions, APEX, and the American Registry for Internet Numbers for organizing this forum. It truly is a pleasure on behalf of the Eugene DePuy Law School, EDLS, to greet you at this unique internal conference which addresses the evolving practice of law for the digital age, hosted by the Caribbean Agency for Justice Solutions, APEX, and the American Registry for Internet Numbers. EDLS had the privilege of having APEX support us in staging our first online conference, a series of law and society webinars in the summer of 2020, around the same time that many in our profession, both in judiciaries and law practices, were grappling with the trauma inflicted by the COVID-19 pandemic, impact in the profession, in business, and in society. This all indicates a compelling necessity for initiatives such as this, where we begin to break the ground, so to speak, in areas of the law which secure our future claim and provide a foundation of thought and strategy for our law schools and for legal practitioners. That is why this event is so timely and important. We are grateful to those whose work has gone into the planning, to the CCJ, APEX, ARIN, LACNIC, the CTU, CAJO, and OCCBA. We're grateful to you, the distinguished participants in this inaugural event. And of course, to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bevel Wooding, whose initiative, leadership, and drive have made this possible. We hope that your time today will be informative, inspiring, and richly rewarding. Once again, on behalf of the Eugene DePuy Law School, congratulations.
And thank you, Tonya. Thank you for the welcome remarks to all the speakers thus far. And also thank you to Mr. Bevel Wooding, who was instrumental in planning today's and yesterday's events.